Hello, everybody, and welcome to this late night edition of the Closers podcast, closing out the week. As promised, I actually followed through with a promise this week, guys. This is fucking crazy. I have in the studio, in the flesh, a delirious Gavin Stine and an even more delirious Carlitos Salamanca.
What it do, baby?
I'm your host, as always, Marco Alvarado, and we are going to discuss a movie that all of us have watched within the last 28 hours, and that is Star Wars Rise of Skywalker. Right? Is that what it's called? Or Last Skywalker? I don't know. Rise of Skywalker. Okay.
Yes.
All right. What?
Stealing your aux cord.
Why?
Because it's on the ground.
No.
How much wine have you had today, Gavin?
I'm not going to answer that question. I'm an American. I have a Fifth Amendment right, which means I don't have to answer your question. Sorry.
So what you're saying is you had a lot of wine.
I had a lot. I can say that.
I've had a lot of beer, so
exactly.
That's good.
And a little bit of In-N-Out.
Yeah, same here. Actually, that's literally the same here.
I've just listened to a lot of Billie Eilish today. It's basically the equivalent.
You listen to the same song over
Because she's 18 now?
Listen to you, motherfucker. Shut the fuck up. God damn it. No.
Those ocean eyes, boy.
Dude, those ocean eyes, bro. Oh, fuck.
That ocean rack? It's gonna get reckless out here, you guys. I do apologize for anyone who listens.
Okay.
Mom, I know you're really into these podcasts.
Oof.
I'm very sorry.
That's dangerous.
The Closers podcast does not condone any of the statements that have been made by the guests in the previous episodes or future episodes. Viewer discretion is advised.
She is 18.
Yeah, so we watched a movie.
I don't need
and
to feel better.
Neither of us have.
I'm the bad guy.
None of us have talked about this movie amongst ourselves. I don't know what either of you think, and neither of you know what I think, and vice versa. You guys don't know what each other think. So we flipped the coin, and we have come to the conclusion that Carlitos will start the discussion. So I'm going to give you the floor and let you say what you need to say about this film.
Cool. Very good. Let me throw my glasses back on.
All right.
So overall, I think J.J. Abrams did the best he could recovering from Rian Johnson's just trash movie. Like, it's still entertaining to watch. I think if my grandma watched The Last Jedi, she would be entertained, just like any Marvel movie. She's like, oh, like, that was cool to see. It's like, it was cool to see, but in the Star Wars fandom, was it everything we wanted and more? Definitely not. You know, so when I was talking to you last time, Marco, I said that I didn't want to go into this movie with any expectations, and that's exactly what I did. I kind of just sat there and I was like, I'm ready for whatever's going to come. So just off the bat, I think as a movie continuing in the saga, 7.5 out of 10. I know that's like kind of like a mediocre score, but for everything that it gave me and the delivery of that, I think that's fair in the full context of the Skywalker saga. As its own movie within the trilogy, 8 out of 10. I'll bump it up a 0.5 because I think the twists and turns that it had and a lot of the false kind of impressions and feelings that it gave me initially from some scenes were great. You know, J.J. Abrams with just, I don't know, you might have to look this up on your phone like you did for the last one. I don't know if he wrote the screenplay, but just everything about it, I was just like, I went through a bunch of different emotions. I was stunned. I was happy. I was sad.
Disappointed?
Disappointed in some portions. I will get to that later in this conversation for sure after I hear you guys' opinions. And I cried.
Cool.
There's a small tear from my chin.
You did a very good job at keeping this spoiler free for people. I appreciate that.
I did.
So I think that, Gavin,
full disclosure, real quick, listeners, this will be a spoiler podcast, just like it was for the Joker.
Yeah.
So if you're listening to this point, turn it off. Go
Okay.
watch the movie, come back to this episode, everything.
I think that's fair. You did the spoiler free, but you let it off. Gavin can go into the nitty gritty spoiler talk.
Yes.
And go second.
I'm not necessarily going to get nitty gritty, but I think last I checked, which is, you know how you said you were going in without expectations?
Yes.
I was going in knowing that I was going to despise this movie. Knowing. Because I knew that this movie was written by J.J. Abrams and the guy that wrote Batman vs. Superman. Batman vs. Superman was dog shit.
Zack Snyder?
Release the Snyder Cut. Hashtag release the Snyder Cut.
So I went into this knowing that I was going to hate it. That being said, I watched this entire movie, and I don't think I went more than 5 minutes without laughing for the entire 2.5 hours. But I do have to say, Marco can attest to this. 4 years ago, I called two things in this movie.
Yes, he did.
Which was?
Rey is a Palpatine, and Death Star lasers on the Star Destroyers. I called those things 4 years ago.
I'm upset that I was wrong about my prediction.
about
Kamino.
Dude, I was upset too.
But I did not know that it was going to be Endor. The forest moon of Endor, I did not expect that at all.
Well, they weren't on Endor. They were next. They were Endor adjacent.
No. So, okay. Let me just put this in context for you.
Okay.
Episode 6.
Yeah.
They're not on Endor. They're on the forest moon of Endor. Where they go, where the Death Star pieces are on the same forest moon of Endor. Endor is the planet itself, but where the Rebel base let me backtrack.
Yeah.
Where the control center for the Death Star was the forest moon of Endor.
Oh, so it's the moon of the system Endor.
Yes. Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
But the planet that they were on in the Rise of the Skywalker was not Endor, though.
The forest moon of Endor.
They were on Cthulhu Dulu or some weird shit.
The forest moon of Endor.
They were not on the forest moon of Endor.
Not necessarily titled as the forest moon of Endor, but they were on the moon of Endor.
No, because they would have been able to find that.
Okay.
So what was the name of that planet?
Was the whole conflict.
This is Endor. If you can't see, I'm using
a tuner, a guitar tuner
as Endor planet.
Yeah.
And I'm using my watch as the forest moon.
Yeah.
Empire Strikes Back, the Ewoks.
Forest moon.
On this forest moon of Endor.
Yeah.
Rise of Skywalker, on the moon of Endor.
Are you talking about... Okay, you're talking about specifically when they find the Death Star pieces and she finds a little Sith holocron thing. Not when she confronts Palpatine at the end.
No, that was on...
That was on Cthulhu Dulu Dulu.
Not Cthulhu Dulu.
Some weird
Cthulhu
shit.
is the magical...
I know, it's
octopus beast.
I don't know. He doesn't know the name of the fucking planet.
Fuck, where's my phone?
It's not important.
It doesn't matter. No.
It's important for the context.
But... Anyway,
Alphabetreon.
Overall, I would say I enjoyed the movie, but in all of the wrong ways. That being said, it is most definitely the second best movie in the franchise. I mean, not in the franchise. Sorry, in the new
Rogue One.
Fuck you. In the new.
I was gonna say
in the new trilogy. I will admit, I'm sorry, Carlitos. I did enjoy it as a Star Wars movie more than Rogue One, but
that's fair.
That's because J.J. Abrams. This is the thing about the movie. Marco and I, we saw it at the same time.
Exegol.
And
Exegol.
About halfway through the movie, Marco and I, for like a solid 10 minutes, were predicting every single thing that was going to happen next. Like, I think it was like 5 things in a row.
Yeah.
He'd say, oh, well, this is going to happen. I'd say, oh, well, C-3PO's memory is going to come
I
back.
counted down the seconds to when Luke was going to jump on the screen.
Yeah.
I counted it.
Exactly.
I really
got it. I got it exactly.
What about when Chewbacca dies?
I'm gonna get to that. I'm gonna get to that.
Yeah, we're gonna touch on
I will get to that.
That was a.
I have something very important to say about that. I'll talk about that in a minute.
What I would say is this movie is a passable Star Wars movie because J.J. Abrams clearly understands the biology of Star Wars and how it's supposed to feel, look, and, take place, which is, like what you touched on with you laughed, you cried, you felt, you felt good, you felt bad. It definitely has those emotional roller coaster moments that all Star Wars movies typically have, except for, Episode 8.
Fuck that. Fuck that movie.
Exactly.
I agree.
What I would say though is like probably the first 30 minutes of the movie to me, it was garbage in that they were moving like 900 miles an hour for like the entire first half an hour, and I was like, what the fuck is going on?
But is that any different from The Last Jedi, where that movie was really fast paced, even though it had,
I didn't like about that movie though.
Even though it had a lot of concepts and ideas which were not pertinent to the story, in my opinion.
Yeah.
It still was moving really fast. And I give J.J. Abrams credit for this movie because Rian Johnson just fucked everything up. And for J.J. Abrams to kind of recover from that, I think he did an excellent job doing the franchise and the saga justice based off what he was given to work with.
He did have to pretty much recover from the entirety of The Last Jedi at the first part of the movie. I admit that. But it was going so fast-paced that I had trouble kind of keeping up with what was even going on.
It was at light speed.
For the first chunk of the movie. It was at light speed.
Yes.
They were actually light speed skipping for a good chunk of that 30
minutes.
Yeah.
They were.
That was crazy.
That was, I mean, it was something.
Yeah.
What I do appreciate is that this movie was not nearly as childish as The Last Jedi at all.
Right? Oh, dude, it was like a movie.
The moment,
an actual movie.
Yeah, dude, the moment I realized that was when they just fucking dropped that alien's head right on the table.
Yeah.
Oh,
from the weird like crystal planet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He just plopped it down, and I was like, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
This is not anything like The Last Jedi at all.
Which I'm glad about.
Yes. 100%.
So
100%.
I'm going to start my statement by saying that what we witnessed was arguably the most difficult retcon job to pull off that I have ever witnessed in my life. And J.J. Abrams passed. I'm not going to say he got an A+, but he passed. He did a good enough job to be like, all right, at least he did a decent job with everything he was given. He wasn't a Rian Johnson. And like you both have touched on, he definitely was given a poo-poo platter of shit to work with. And like you said, Gavin, he went 1,000 miles per hour in the beginning, which totally caught me off guard. And I was like, okay, if this is the entire movie, if this is exactly how it's going to be the whole fucking movie, this is bad. This might be worse than Last Jedi. But it calmed down. And I must say, going back to the Chewbacca death, quote unquote, that was the best part of the movie, in my opinion, because in the sense, when you look at what it meant and the symbolism of it, that is exactly what Rian Johnson would have fucking done to Chewbacca. He would have done that. It would have actually, like, Rey would have killed Chewbacca. If Rian Johnson got the chance to fucking have that happen, he would have done it. And J.J. Abrams was totally jabbing at Rian Johnson by, quote unquote, killing Chewbacca and then just actually having him, like, reappear. Because it was like he was saying, like, oh yeah, you guys thought I was going to go that direction, huh? Like, you fuckers thought I was Rian Johnson, huh? No, I'm not Rian Johnson. I actually understand how this shit works. And that was very powerful for me personally, which I appreciated a lot. And I wasn't the biggest fan of J.J. Abrams when he directed The Force Awakens, but with that move,
wrong.
Okay, and we can debate that later, but with that move, what he did, that warmed my heart, because that's what every fan wanted to see. We wanted to see J.J. Abrams kind of understand and acknowledge how horrible Rian Johnson was and is still to the Star Wars universe.
Seriously, fuck Rian Johnson.
Fuck you, Rian Johnson.
Yeah,
you piece of shit.
Yeah,
my audio was lost before, but seriously, fuck Rian Johnson.
Why? Oh, do you want to say what you said about Rose?
No, I don't.
Why do you say fuck Rian Johnson, Gavin? Really quickly.
Really get into the mic. Get over it. Really, so you can hear it.
I just feel that he did not do Episode 8 service as he should have. it wasn't as good of a movie, and it didn't live up to the standards that the Force Awakens set. And I respectfully disagree with some of the directing decisions that he made in that movie. And I get it. Each director has their own creative direction that they want to go. I just feel that Rian Johnson was a little bit misled with the way that he took things.
Very eloquent.
I was gonna say that was really PG for
that was
what came the first time we heard this spiel, but I could appreciate that.
I'm less mad now that I've seen this movie. It has definitely my anger about The Last Jedi has gone down, knowing that someone. I guess my biggest regret is if Episode 8 had been just directed by J.J. Abrams, he could have done so much more with this movie.
Oh yeah.
For
sure, I agree with that.
It feels like there was like Knights of Ren and stuff. Like there were so many cool concepts that he could have expanded on, or like the Emperor himself could have had way more of a presence. Although arguably he might not have even been there had Rian Johnson not made the fucking dipshit dumbass decision to kill Snoke.
Yes.
But here's my question: if Palpatine wasn't in the equation, who would Rey have been?
That's the thing.
What was her? If Palpatine wasn't the end goal of all this entire saga, because he was there from Episode 1 until, well, not really 7 or 8, but I guess with Snoke. But who would she have been if he wasn't in the context of this last trilogy?
I think that the original goal was to make her nobody. Make her, you don't think so? I think that was the original goal.
I don't think so. Especially with The Force Awakens, I just rewatched that one.
Yeah.
Every single person, Maz, Han, fucking everyone. Who's the girl? Who's the girl? Who's the girl?
Yeah.
And then we get to the end of 7, and we're left questioning who is this girl.
And Ren heavily implies that he knows her.
Yes, exactly that.
Yeah.
And there's fan theories about she's a Kenobi, which didn't make sense.
No.
That she's like a Skywalker, whatever it is, and then you get to 8, and there's just everything that we wanted to see completely fell off because Rian Johnson just took He
purposely took a dump on all of it.
Yeah,
it's like he was watching all the theories and was like, nah, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly, and then like through 8, we're really left to believe that she is no one, and then you can see in this last movie that J.J. Abrams tries to recover with Kylo saying, your parents were no one for a reason. They wanted to be no ones because you are this person.
Yeah.
And that's a part of the storyline that kind of felt really synthetic and placed.
Yeah.
Because he needed a reason to say your parents wanted to be no one for a reason.
Yeah.
When she has one of the darkest names within the galaxy for the time.
Yeah.
If not the darkest.
Exactly.
My thought on it was, and this is again before Snoke was murdered stupidly, was that the roles of Snoke and Palpatine in J.J. Abrams' mind were reversed. That Palpatine was actually a puppet of Snoke, and that Rey was still a granddaughter or daughter or some sort of relative to Palpatine. That was my original theory. Because if you read I think it's the Aftermath novels, Palpatine actually has a base on Jakku. And this is Disney, this is canon.
Okay.
He has a base on Jakku. He's reaching out to something in the uncharted territories. So my thought was that Palpatine was reaching out to Snoke, who was actually secretly the puppet master of the whole thing. And I think J.J. Abrams, when Snoke was killed, was forced to kind of reverse those roles.
Yeah.
Which kind of makes it make a little bit more sense when you get there. Because, like, if you imagine Palpatine being there in Episode 8 instead of Snoke, and Snoke being where Palpatine is in this one.
Yeah.
With all the weird cultist dudes and, like, the auditorium
yeah,
him and stuff.
Yeah, that was weird.
And I don't know if that was just me, but it felt like that scene was shot really dark, so I could not see what was really going on.
Yeah.
And then when the entire temple collapsed under the rocks, were they really there, or were they just
like figments?
Yeah,
I think it was like the embodiment of the dark
Sith?
side and the Sith. I think that's what it was.
Yeah.
Like, you know how Rey, she like channeled the souls and like the voices of all the past Jedi.
Bro, was that Qui-Gon?
That was Qui-Gon.
Dude.
Mace Windu. You heard Mace
That was
Windu.
Obi-Wan. those
Obi-Wan, Yoda, dude.
I was trying to hear a "You're a Jedi, motherfucker." Like I was hoping to hear that. That would be hella funny,
bro.
When
I
heard my
Ray,
my what's his name? Original Obi-Wan voice, man. Oh my!
Alec Guinness.
Alec Guinness.
I think Hayden Christensen was in there too. I'm pretty sure he was in that little part
that
too.
Was his voice.
Yeah, that was cool.
Fuck.
It was interesting. It is interesting to think about just the placement of Palpatine and how little context there is for him even like reoccurring. Like, you end episode 8 on this cliffhanger of like the Resistance now has new life, right? And all of a sudden, next episode, Palpatine's back. Like, there's no real explanation as to how he came back. Yeah, and they all know. And like, it's like, okay, there's obviously something between these two movies that has to get explained. And I don't know how it's going to be. I'm assuming it'll be a novel or something like that. I don't know how did it get from. There's so many questions. Because you see Palpatine get thrown down the shaft in episode 6. Then all of a sudden, 3 episodes later, he's on that planet.
Looking dead as fuck.
Yeah.
Like, gross.
It's like, so who put him there? So who put
Missing part of a finger, fucking cloudy white eyes, like, just disgusting.
Like,
gross.
who put him there? Like, how did any of this happen without anybody knowing, or even Kylo not knowing? You know, like, it just, that plot device and the plot device of Rey's parents, it's like, okay, then if her dad was Palpatine's son, who's her dad? Who is he?
And why didn't we see him in the prequel trilogy 1, 2, and 3?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Unless,
I mean, he
Palpatine was just a hoe.
Jar Jar Binks.
He looked pretty young in the flashback that Rey had. So maybe he was a son that Palpatine had like towards the end of the Republic, at the beginning of the Empire, because that puts us at, well, no, it would have to be like mid-Empire.
Yeah.
Because her dad looked about in his, like early 30s or so. So like, I mean, it kind of makes sense timeline-wise why we wouldn't have actually seen him in any of the previous movies.
But Rey would have had to been born the same time as Kylo because they're about the same age.
Kylo was born, like right after the fall of the Empire, about.
Give or take.
So then...
Probably take...
Surrogate daddy, I guess. I don't know.
I probably, I would say 5... I would say within the Mandalorian timeline.
Yeah.
Kylo would have been born because in the flashback that Luke had, him and Leia were training, and she said she saw a vision of her son, dying, right?
Mm-hmm.
So within the 5 years from episode 6 to whenever he was born, it would have been there. So Rey would have had to been born at the same time.
Yeah.
So how does that make sense when Palpatine dies at the end of 6?
Well, it could be something as simple as like we were talking about before, like how there's a theory that Palpatine is the one who caused Anakin to be born in the first place.
Yeah.
It could be something in that.
That Palpatine manipulated the midichlorian for some lady to have a baby.
Maybe.
Who was either the son or daughter of Palpatine. To marry someone to have Rey. Like, I don't.
What I'm saying is if he had a son, like, we'll say halfway, like if you look at the timeline of the Empire existing.
Who would fuck that ugly dude with a weird face?
Ian McDiarmid? The Palpatine?
Yeah, I'm saying like episode 3 Palpatine at the end where he has like a dent in his forehead and he's super wrinkly and he's like, I'm too weak. Like, who would fuck that guy?
He's the Emperor, number 1.
But who would fuck that guy?
So you don't have a choice. Number two, he's got mad force powers. Do you know how freaking awesome he probably is in the sack?
I could hold you down.
Seems kind of rapey to me.
Well, I mean, he's evil. I mean, obviously, he probably raped whoever he had the kid with. Like, do it. I'm going to do it. Like, dude, it's just fucked. Like, he's evil. Like, it probably went that way.
Oh God,
dude, that's how he rolls. But like, if he had a kid halfway through the existence of the Empire, that would put him at about the age that it'd make sense to have kids when Rey was supposedly born.
Yeah,
which does make sense in the timeline.
Yeah.
You know,
I was really hoping that your theory of it being Camino,
that would have made more sense.
I really hoped
like there was a lot of stuff in the expanded universe that pointed to Palpatine using the Kaminoans as a means to clone himself, to be able to transfer his spiritual presence into a younger version of himself, which would have made a lot of sense.
Yeah.
Because just moving forward, that delivery of everything would have made a lot of sense if he was a younger, like just maybe today's age Ian McDiarmid.
Yeah.
You know, because then he could have been like, oh, like he's a clone from the Clone Wars. Like there was a big battle between stormtroopers and Kaminoan clones that they cloned to fight the Empire in the expanded universe, all this stuff.
Yeah.
But in retrospect, that wouldn't have made a lot of sense considering that pieces of the Death Star were in the ocean. As I was watching that unfold, it kind of made a lot more sense that it would have been on Endor. Because I was just like, oh, like, why would a Death Star be on Camino? Like, it's not anything I'd considered before.
That's true.
So I think that was a really good portion of the movie. But I still think if he was a clone even, and then that explanation of that being, like, I've transcended my spirit as a Force ghost or whatever through, like, generations of clones of myself to be where I am now.
Yeah.
Like, I'm weak enough in the Force because it's not my original body.
Yeah.
But I'm going to take your life force to become what I was before. That would have made a lot more sense.
Yeah.
Than just being like, oh, I'm being kept alive by a fucking machine.
Yeah.
On this random dark planet, wherever.
Yeah, that I agree.
But
if his end goal was to gain the
restore himself to
fountain
his
of
full
youth
power,
type of shit, that would have made more sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, in the end, did I like the movie? I can't say if I liked it or not.
I think it's something you have to sleep on because having the data kind of process what I watched and how I felt about the movie, I would definitely say it's something that I would watch again. You know.
Well, I get the privilege of seeing it again tomorrow night, so
I'm going to see it next week.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Lando Calrissian.
Dude, that's the part I fucking cried.
Which part?
Like it wasn't
which Lando part?
It wasn't a sobbing part, but it was like oh man, because
who are you?
Not the
we are together.
Let's find out.
Not on the festival, not the part at the end where he's talking to that black girl. Like who gives a fuck about her story?
Dude, that's the one thing about this movie that I kind of was annoyed. All these random characters they use to just like get
like the British dude from Lost.
Yeah.
Bro, fuck that guy. Get him out of here.
Oh my god.
What?
Yeah, Pippin, bro. Pippin. Why was Pippin in this movie?
Pippin was there, and he had like way too much screen time for not actually being a character.
It was like he knew that he was like he's a good friend with J.J. Abrams. Like, bro, I gotta be in a Star Wars movie, and they were just like, here, man, you could be this random fucking rebel dude. Like, I don't know, here.
Jesus Christ. And then the same thing. He was in The Force Awakens, the chubby white dude with the beard. He was from Lost. Or not Lost, Heroes. He was the police officer in Heroes.
Oh, is he the fighter? Was he the pilot?
Yeah, he's the X-Wing pilot.
Yeah, who dies.
He's J.J. Abrams' friend, personally.
Yeah.
Oh, is he really?
Yeah, I think
bro,
I think
R.I.P.
If we're talking about the same guy, I think
his name was like Officer Parsons or whatever in Heroes.
Yeah.
You know?
It's always the fat guy that dies in an X-Wing.
It is, bro. But I was just like...
Porkins!
But you have to show him die. But I will say the part, like, the most emotional part of that movie, like, Chewbacca dying, I was like, oh my god. Like, did this really just happen? Like, she just killed her friend. And I was sitting there with my hand over my mouth, like, oh shit.
Dude, when that happened, Gavin was there. You were there for that, right? Or did you go pee?
The Force landing part? Yeah, I saw that.
Okay, you saw that. Yeah. Dude, when that happened, I was like, okay, this movie is...
I knew that I was right in that moment.
I was like, this movie's going down the fucking hill a lot faster than I thought.
So, just the same way that Finn should have died in The Last Jedi, I think if Chewbacca would have died, that would have made her entire resolve a lot stronger.
I don't think so.
Because she would have been like, fuck, like, I just killed my friend. I think I'm a part of the dark side. And then she gets to the end and she's like, no, you know what? Like, I've 1,000 generations of Jedi living in me. As Luke said right now, every single one of those Jedi have made mistakes. And that's something that I need to live with and something that's going to make me stronger. And I think that would have... It would have sucked that Chewbacca died because he's been a homie since fucking day one.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know? but Anakin never made a mistake that, like, blew up, I don't know, Kit Fisto or some shit. You know,
he killed like, kids.
No, he purposely
That's not a mistake,
kids.
though.
He didn't accidentally blow up a ship with kids in it.
He went out of his way to kill the kids. That's not a mistake. I mean,
that's fair.
That was his objective.
But like he actively killed a ton of fucking Tusken Raiders because he was mad.
But that's not the same as like
accidentally
killing a dear friend.
Yeah.
Like her connection to Chewbacca is to Han Solo, who she kind of considers like a quasi dad,
which we will get to later.
Goes.
Dude,
oh,
I have a lot of opinions about that. I have a lot of opinions about that. But
so
how did we get started on this? Where was I going with this?
Kid.
What?
Please remind me where I was going with this.
We were talking about the movie and just how I thought it was going downhill pretty quickly, and then
I don't remember where I was going.
You were talking about how it would have strengthened her resolve if she had accidentally killed.
But before that, where was I going?
I don't know, man.
That's the last thing I remember.
PBR, come on, help me out.
Dude, I know.
Anyway.
I know these roads.
Strengths of the movie, though. I think the Palpatine portion was a fucking huge plot twist. Did not see that coming. Gavin predicted that. That wasn't anything I'd considered before.
Really?
Yeah,
That's
because...
interesting, yeah.
Based off the last two movies, I was kind of just like, man, I don't know, like, where is this going to go? I really have no clue. Mm-hmm. I think that... no, the part that I got emotional about Lando.
That's what it is, yes.
My bad.
No,
I really thought everyone was going to die.
Me too.
I thought it was going to be too late. I was like, this is how it ends. Like, this is going to be it.
You really thought everyone was going to die?
I thought at least the entire, whatever fleet they had brought with them initially was going to just get wrecked. And then Rey was going to defeat Palpatine somehow. And she was going to look up and everyone was going to be gone. And that was going to be the end of the story. Because she was going to be like, I don't want this anymore. Like, I'm force sensitive, but I don't want this. Like, this isn't the life I want.
Yeah.
Like, I was fine being no one before. I had this life with all these people that I met, but they're gone now. So I'm content being no one again.
I thought,
but then
I was thinking about that, but that's just so dark for Disney.
They put an alien's fucking head on the table.
That's not the same as the main character realizing, you know what, I'm just gonna go and just be a hermit because all my friends died.
Realizing that nihilism is the answer.
Yeah, exactly.
Bro, that's fucking life.
Nothing really matters.
Yeah, true.
Anyone can see.
Nothing really matters.
Yeah.
That would have been an awesome if it just became Bohemian Rhapsody to the movie. That would have been dope.
God.
Wait, so you're saying that you almost cried at the part where Lando shows up and there's
with
like
fucking everyone,
this absurdly large fleet,
dude.
This
that's
this
crazy
pseudo Endgame-esque fucking scene.
But that's a crazy thing.
So hard to capture.
But that's the thing. Like you see, like the distress signal go out on the Salt Planet, whatever the fuck that name was, in The Last Jedi, and no one comes, and you're like, damn, like that really sucks.
But instead,
but then the entire theme of the dude, listen.
Every person in the entire universe
bro,
comes.
Please listen, because the entire theme of the entire movie is like, no one's gonna come. Literally, everyone has given up, and they're just gonna settle because the entire galaxy's been through this before.
Yeah,
where the Empire just fucking swept across the galaxy, and everyone's been used to being controlled. Yeah. But I think it's a good representation of where we are now as a nation. That our parents have gone through bullshit before, and now it's up to us to make the change. And I feel, dude, there's on Twitter, people can voice their opinions, and I see 17.8 thousand retweets. Do you know how many people that is? How many youth that is? There's 174,000 people in Elk Grove alone.
Yes.
in the bigger picture of the nation,
yes,
that's 0.5%.
Right.
Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
Not even. You know? So I think being able to gather a force that's large enough to combat whatever negative connotation of the nation that we see is something that was transcended through the movie to bring everyone together to fight a power that we all know is evil, but we don't know if we can defeat that.
So you're talking about themes.
Yes. And I think that is something that not only in the movie, but like in the movie, that is what brought me to my knees, because I was like, man, like all of us here have given up hope. Like, sure, it's convenient timing. The first step of impeachment has gone through. We're cool. We're happy about that. But at the same time, we see what step is going to come next. And are we excited about that? Probably not. Because we see what process this next step has to go through. The majority is Republican, you know.
And it's
do we really have hope that it's going to go through? Maybe not. But if we have enough people backing us in the future, 30 million
people to storm the Senate
and Lando Calrissian,
if we get,
but that's the thing. Like, if we have one person that everyone can get behind, even if we think that we're at our ends, at the end of the rope, then we're able to make a change. And I feel like that's something that a lot of people don't consider.
So it's powerful.
So seeing that on the screen as something that everyone has lost hope. But seeing, like, we're going to go for this at the very end because this is the only thing that's going to matter. And kind of bringing that kind of concept to what is happening right now. I think is
just the timing of it
is super powerful.
I think
because if the impeachment process doesn't go through and we get to the next election, it's going to be up to us as a people, even though we have been shot down with this whole process. Because I firmly believe it's not going to go through, and that's just like the first order or like the final order. Everything that we have built up to has been lost because we don't think that there's anyone left.
Yeah, you're looking at sent out the call. You're looking at the parallels with our with our society.
We've sent out the call and no one's answered, and that's going to be up to us to go out and find those people because the majority of the people that are there for the rebellion and the resistance are out there. Right. But it's up to us as a group of people to inspire that hope within the people to bring them back.
Well, I know we have a Ray in our midst, and his name is Andrew Yang. So if we all just vote for Andrew Yang, we will all be fine. But
and then we get
is that the same guy that got his
no, we get $1,000 a month, and everything will be fine. But anyway,
we're all fucked.
But I agree. I disagree. I disagree with you in the sense of the theme is powerful and the timing is very impeccable, but the execution of that scene,
I didn't think it was good.
No.
What?
Dude, that was so ham-fisted.
Dude, I laughed.
Dude, that was the most me and Gavin laughed the whole movie.
I'm sorry to shoot you down, Carlitos, but when the sky was blanketed in so many ships that you could see more ships than space, I couldn't stop laughing.
Bro, but that's okay.
It was literally
I get it's like
every person came.
But I get everybody. I get it's
like Jabba's freaking speedster
in real life. If we're comparing this to Twitter in real life, what it would be was like 70 armies fighting each other.
Did you notice any of the old separatist ships?
I did.
That was fucking crazy.
I admit there were kick-ass things about it.
Yeah, but I get it's like
I just wish it would have been more detailed.
I get it's like Endgame, but at the same time, like Endgame, I don't believe in those movies as a portion of cinematic history.
What?
I believe that as more of a cash grab.
Thank you, sir.
I will shake your hand on that, Gavin.
Yes. Why?
Yeah.
That's
why.
Okay.
Dude, if you look at Iron Man 1, I'm pretty sure we've had this discussion before. I don't know if it's been on Live Air or what. Okay. Iron Man 1 directly...
I think you just don't understand what the definition of history is. Then.
Oh my god.
Dude.
Sorry it beat Avatar.
It's
sorry
historic,
Disney's still making money off of it.
It's historic in how good the committee made those movies.
Yes. And
the committee?
The committee. Those are committee-made movies.
Hold on. Gavin, who's your Spider-Man?
My Spider-Man?
Real quick. Who's your Spider-Man?
Gavin,
I would say, okay. Quality of enjoyment of movies wise, I would say Tom Holland, but as Spider-Man, just like kind of like how I like the prequels of Star Wars.
You're not answering my question.
I'd say Tubby McGuire.
Fuck you,
if
Marco.
I had to.
Because I don't know if you listened to our last. I don't know if you listened to our last thing.
I did.
Of Star Wars.
I was chatting in the.
Okay, out of the context of the MCU, without the other heroes supporting his story and what he's doing, Tom Holland's movies are fucking trash.
That is a lie. And I disagree with you.
He's not Spider-Man on his own.
He's not Spider-Man on his own. He is not Spider-Man.
Yeah,
but
you guys just have no taste. Apparently, that's fine.
But hold on, I forgot where I was going with this.
Okay, first of all, history.
How did we get here?
Look.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying.
The thing with the history is you can think, regardless of how these movies were made or what the intention was. The intention for the first Spider-Man movie was the exact same thing. Sam Raimi didn't really have any passion for Spider-Man. All he wanted, he had, it was a cash grab too. But why do you like Tobey Maguire better? It's just because it was first. So
I don't. I'm
okay. I know you're Andrew Garfield for some reason, but
fuck all you.
Wait, what? Okay.
We're not.
So
we'll get into that later.
with the MCU and with all that stuff, you can say it's a cash grab. Sure, is it partially? Of course, but it definitely has its place in cinematic history, especially Phase 1 through 3. It was wrapped up in a way that very few sagas have ever been wrapped up, and that includes Star Wars.
Jesus,
I mean, look at us now.
I'm
not mad. I'm just
spitting facts. The difference being Iron Man 1 compared to Endgame. Iron Man 1, the entire theme of that movie, where it started and where he was going with that as Tony Stark, was fuck those terrorists. And then we slowly diverge into different things. Like, it gets less and less realistic. I get Star Wars is not realistic at all because it happens in fucking space. But you can't tell me that something that started out with George Lucas wanting to create a sci-fi Western movie based off movies he had seen before and ideas that he had taken from is the same as Marvel Universe, directly attacking political stances on terrorism and getting to a fucking purple alien where everyone from every fucking galaxy comes together to defeat him and his army.
Guess what happened? The same thing happened in this movie because everybody from every galaxy came to destroy a wrinkly-haired piece of shit.
What does that mean?
I'm standing in the middle right now.
I don't speak Spanish.
Oh, that's weird.
That is weird.
It's a really fun language.
Don't patronize me.
I'm not patronizing you.
You're patronizing me.
What I'm saying, I'm going to stand right in the middle of you guys here on this token. The reason that happened in this Star Wars movie, and that the previous Star Wars movie was dog shit, and that Episode 7 is arguably dog shit, though I don't agree.
It's arguably. There's an argument to be made.
Is that these movies are in the hands of people with the same mindset and the same types of committees. All these together. The Marvel and Star Wars now are owned by the same group of corporate shillbags who want to commercialize and sell our entertainment and monopolize it all for us.
Okay.
That is why this new Star Wars did that. If you look at the previous 6 Star Wars movies, though, they all have deeper messages and themes to them and do have places in cinematic history. Like, even the Phantom Menace. Even Phantom Menace is groundbreaking in the use of CGI in that movie to the extent that they used it.
Okay.
Only matched by Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
The Fellowship of the Ring, the first one. So the first 6 Star Wars movies have a legitimate place in movie history, in cinematic history, in that they are the singular vision of one person brought to life by the success of this initial movie that they all thought was going to fail, and actually was critically panned for like the first 4 years of its existence.
I agree. So
Star Wars is different in cinematic history than Marvel, in that the Marvel Cinematic Universe is entirely the creation of committee, corporate shitbag scumholes That's what the entire... I'm sorry. They're good movies. Don't get me wrong. I enjoy them.
And that's the point.
The entire Marvel Universe is not... They're not movies.
They are movies.
No. They are entertainment for the masses.
Boom.
Designed by Disney to make money.
Boom.
Just like
that's what a movie is.
Just like the new Star Wars movie.
I don't think so.
You literally defined a movie.
No.
I do not think so.
No. You look at Tarantino movies...
That's a movie.
Tarantino movies, that is a movie. That is a piece of art that Tarantino designed. He wrote it. And that's what
the corporate shills do, too.
No, they don't.
They designed every... You guys just said they designed everything.
They design it with the exact
regardless of intent and motivation.
Okay, if I put in $100 million, I want to make $300 million. Tarantino, of course, profit is a part of that, but the entire thing of Tarantino is I have an idea, I'm going to execute it to the best of my ability. You cannot tell me that Kathleen Kennedy gives a fucking half of a shit about that.
If she gave as much of a shit as Tarantino,
she does produce movies.
The N-word would have been portrayed in any Disney movie because Tarantino doesn't give a fuck. He likes his art.
What does that have to do with the definition of a movie?
Scorsese.
Because he likes the N-word in his movies.
I get what I'm saying.
Yeah, I don't.
If we're taking the literal definition of a motion picture, then yes, they are motion pictures, but they are not film. They are not movies in the same way that Scorsese or Tarantino or even Spike Lee, who I'm not even a huge fan of, these guys make films.
And I think a good portion of this would be that on the side of entertainment, my grandma could go watch Transformers, not seeing any fucking one of the Transformers movie, and walk out being like, oh, that was entertaining.
Mm-hmm.
But for it to be a film in a continuous saga per se, or any portion of that, you would have to come out of that movie with thoughts other than like, oh, that was a good movie. Like you'd have to think like, man, what was that about? Like, what was the deeper meaning? Mm-hmm. Like Joker, that's a fucking film.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Endgame.
So is Endgame.
It's a film because I watched it on the big screen. So technically, yeah, it's a film, but it's just more entertainment factor.
That's fine, but at the end of the day, it still is.
I will not go out of my way to watch Endgame unless I'm bored.
That's fine, and that's the thing. Like you can look at the motivation behind any filmmaker. You can look at the motivation behind why people create things, why corporations create things. At the end of the day, it's created. It is a movie. And they're movies that have a place in history for good or bad, but they are part of cinematic history for negative reasons and for positive reasons.
What I'm saying is, if you're looking at cinematic history, will they be a part of cinematic history? Of course, but they're not going to be a part of the cinematic history in anywhere near the same way. No one's going to look back at Infinity War the same way that we look back on Citizen Kane or the original Star Wars. They're going to look back at the Marvel franchise and say...
I never said that.
They're going to look back and say, hey... These guys did an amazing job making billions of dollars whoring out these characters.
Mm-hmm.
That's how we're going to study it, is how the profit-making mechanism of making films has been perfected. That's what Marvel is good for.
Mm-hmm.
The first 6 of Star Wars, any Tarantino, Scorsese, Lee, trying to think of names...
And yeah, I mean, that's all fine. And yeah, I agree. I mean,
the art is what is
disagreeing with anything you're saying, but either you're saying. At the end of the day, though, they are movies. And that's the one thing I do disagree with you guys on.
I'm not saying that they're not movies.
Because you guys did start this entire thing started because you both said they are not film and not movie.
They're not film.
They are
movies, they're not film.
And they are.
They're movies, they're not film.
It's the same interchangeable topic. It's the same thing.
It's like if you read Catcher in the Rye and then you read The Most Dangerous Game. The Catcher in the Rye is a novel filled with ideas and theories about life and understandings about what it's like to be an adolescent kid.
Mm-hmm.
The Most Dangerous Game is crazy rich guy wants to hunt people.
Mm-hmm.
One is art.
Yeah.
One is entertainment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can look
Marvel is the most dangerous game.
Yeah, you can look at everything. And you can look at anything and make it look at a deeper version of a piece of art. I mean, there's drawings that kids have made that are interesting, but they don't fucking mean anything. And you look at something that an actual artist made. They're both drawings. One is deeper than the other, but they both are drawings. And that's basically what it comes down to.
We're not arguing that point, though.
Yeah, we were, though. That's exactly.
We are not arguing that those movies are not movies. We're arguing that they're not film in the creative, artistic.
But that's what you're saying is it's films are deeper than just a movie. That's what you're saying, right?
They are.
Yeah, and at the end of the day, that doesn't really matter because obviously no one's putting Endgame in the same classification as Citizen Kane. No one's putting.
I disagree with that,
and I disagree with the fact that you disagree because I don't think anybody's doing that. Anybody who has any sense with creative
sense. That's the key.
I think
there's a lot of people with no sense.
Sure, I mean at that point you're getting into like societal factors and stuff, and I don't think that matters in this discussion at all because of course there's going to be stupid people that say stupid shit and do stupid things, but the thing that I took issue with is you both said that it has no place in history, and it does, regardless of how you feel about the intent and the motivation behind making those movies. That's all subjective, but I mean, speaking objectively, they made a lot of money, and they know exactly how to make money. And is it negative for overall artists to make movies and films and pictures and you know whatever word you want to call something you go to the movies to watch? Yeah, it could negatively affect that. Definitely, I definitely see it because Scorsese went on a rant about this very thing for a lot, and it makes a lot of sense. But at the end of the day,
he's just a crazy old man.
At the end of the day,
he doesn't know.
But who's the person that said that Marvel movies aren't movies? They're just
that's Scorsese.
That's Scorsese.
Yeah, and I disagree. They are movies, but they're not. Maybe you don't think they're good movies. Maybe you think they're empty, soulless movies, but they're movies, and they do have a place in history for sure. And with this movie specifically, I think that scene with all the ships coming in to orbit at the same time could have definitely been more powerful if it would have been executed better and explained a little better. And
how could it have been explained better?
Maybe because the pacing went like 100 miles an hour.
Not really.
In the beginning, it did. I mean,
yeah, but we're not talking about the beginning of the movie. You just said if the explanation of all these ships coming into orbit was explained better. Express your thoughts on that, because they clearly said, Lando, you go out to the core systems and go rally these people and just try to see if you can bring people to come destroy these things while we hold them off. Yeah. Explain how that could have been explained better.
So when you talk about the core systems, I don't think there's many fans now that even remember what planets those systems are comprised of.
Are you kidding me?
I'm talking like casual fan. I'm not talking you. I'm talking like casual fans that just don't.
Dude, any casual fan would understand. Any casual fan would understand that if they watched 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, they would understand. The only outer rim planets that are seen,
casual fans, I don't think.
Dude, the only outer rim planets that are seen through the entire original trilogy, 1 through 6, are Tatooine, probably Mustafar, Utapau.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
and that's fucking it. Those are the only three.
And this is where
you have Geonosis.
This is where there's the difference,
bro. You have Geonosis, Naboo,
or
fucking Camino.
Camino's outer rim.
Is it?
Yeah.
Yeah, because it wasn't even. It
was erased by Count Dooku.
Yeah. That wouldn't be in the inner.
So we got Geonosis, Naboo, fucking Coruscant. What else? What other planets were they on? Felucia. Wherever Magneto. Literally all the planets within the Clone Wars.
But okay, when you talk about systems and you get to that level, I don't think the casual fan knows even the difference between outer rim and inner shit. Like I feel like that should have been explained a little bit better. Like obviously you and like Gavin and even myself to a lesser extent would know partially things like that. But I think the casual fan, especially the kid that just like started getting into Star Wars, who's like 9 years old and has grown up with this specific trilogy, I don't think they would know anything about that, and I think it could have been explained a little bit better for those people.
I think it would have, because I had looked into, and I know not everyone probably did this, but I was really curious to see how the First Order was formed. And after the fall of the Empire, after Episode 6, Imperial loyalists went into the dark regions, or the outer portions of the galaxy that were unknown, to form the First Order after they had signed essentially the Treaty of Versailles for the galaxy. And those people started building up the First Order and all this kind of stuff. And they went out from their little unknown region into the Outer Rim, like that portion, and started taking over those planets, kind of like Germany did. And they were like, oh, like, we're not going to worry about it because that doesn't affect us right now. And then they got big enough to attack the New Republic, and destroy all that stuff. So for me, I was just like, man, like, this is really interesting to see that essentially the First Order is the Nazi Party, and the Inner Rim systems are going to be the allied countries that didn't initially do anything in the beginning of Nazi takeover. It's like the U.S. being like, like, it's cool, like, we're not going to do anything. And then, say, Palpatine's return is synonymous with Japan.
Hitler Jr.
No, not Hitler Jr., but Japan joining the Axis powers and then bombing Pearl Harbor. And then America's like, fuck all that noise. Like, we're just going to go, like, to war.
Yeah.
So, Palpatine's rise with that frequency that's sent across the galaxy saying, like, Palpatine's back. Is the bombing of Pearl Harbor, and that kind of reaction is what brought Lando reaching out to those inner core systems, which is kind of like America, bringing that. What was the thing they said? Like, you just awoke the beast or whatever. Yeah, like that's what happened in World War II.
Oh, the sleeping giant.
Yeah, the sleeping giant is the Inner Rim coming to fight the Final Order at the end of the movie.
Yeah,
you know?
and I wish that it would have been explained a little bit more, because like that, if that would have been conveyed, that would have been such a more powerful scene, and it would have tied into the societal conversations that we're having now a lot better, and people would have been able to connect to it. I feel a little bit better, but that's just a critique I have about that scene specifically. But I mean, Lando, I don't know. Every time Lando came up on the screen, it was just hilarious. Like every scene, every like line that fool had was,
I think
just,
it's
like,
because
so
Billy D. Williams is old as fuck.
Yeah, yeah. And when he referenced like him and Leia, like, you know, being a thing for a second.
I got some of that. He said something like that.
It was hella funny.
It was super funny.
Yeah, that was hella funny.
He wishes, bro. What the fuck?
I mean,
I don't think he wishes. I think he did.
I don't think he did. What? Okay. Anyway, let's move on, because I have some really appreciative points of this movie. The biggest one, I think, was Maz giving Chewie the golden medallion that he did not receive in A New Hope. I thought that was huge.
Yeah.
Because when she comes up and she says, Leia wanted you to have this. And I was like, man, that transcends the entire saga, because I remember reading things a few years ago that said, like, man, it's pretty fucked up that Chewie didn't get one of these. Like, everyone else got one except him. Yeah. You know? And for him to finally get one after his best friend died, his
second
literally
best friend.
Everyone he went through everything with, except for Lando in the original trilogy, is gone.
Yeah. Yeah.
And for Leia's like final gift to him being something that he didn't receive and get the credit that he was deserved from the first movie was something that was huge.
Yeah, I agree.
You know?
What did you guys think? We were referencing it earlier, but the Han Solo thing.
Man, I think that was cool. I like how it paralleled The Force Awakens. Instead of that shitty, fucking, stupid piece of shit kiss at the end of the movie, I think it would have been huge, like a lot more powerful, if Kylo would have just held Rey's face like Han did to Ben, and then died right there. I think that would have been a lot more dramatic.
Yeah. Why do they have to kiss?
Dude, I don't know. It's like, That's the only part of the movie I really hated.
What were you gonna say, Gavin?
Well, they had no the original trilogy and the sequel trilogy, or the prequel trilogy, my bad, had romance baked into them from like the very beginning. There was always a hint of something.
Yeah.
This trilogy has been like weirdly, almost uncomfortably asexual up until like the last 30 seconds of the movie. I think that, for me at least, is why the kiss is so weird and so off-putting.
Yeah.
Is that this trilogy, it's like no one wants to fuck anything ever for any reason.
Yeah. Not even like Poe and Rey were hinted at being a thing, and then it's just like...
Even Han and Leia, who literally fucked to make Ben Solo... hate each other from moment one.
Yeah.
And don't barely touch each other.
Which is fair, because if you look at their relationship within the original trilogy...
Oh, no, it totally makes sense.
It's like...
Yeah.
I'm just saying that nobody has any...
They're like two positive sides of the magnet, and we just want to fucking push them together, but...
Yeah.
Like, as much as we push, like, they're not going to go. Like, they're just going to bounce off each other.
I think another weird thing with Rey and Kylo, fucking kissing, was... because for so long we were always theorizing, like, okay, are they siblings? What's their relation with one another? Like, what's going on? And then last movie, like, oh yeah, there's nothing and they're nothing. And like, people were making fun of those scenes where they would like talk to each other in the hut, like having sleepovers and shit. And like, yeah. And then all of a sudden they team up and everything's like cool. And then they just like kiss and he dies.
Well, and they keep hinting this entire movie at a Finn and Rey thing.
Which was...
They hinted it like 4 times.
Oh my god.
And then Finn just gets cucked.
Yeah.
Like, again.
Yeah. Yeah, that was weird.
And Finn has the Force somehow.
So I don't think he has the Force. I think
he's like Leia.
His belief within... Well, Leia has the Force. She stopped her training because she saw Ben gonna die. Yes, he's just like...
Yeah, he's like the monk.
It Man. He's just like Chirrut. He's just like Chirrut, where he's like, I'm one with the Force is with me, and I believe that all things are possible through the Force because all is as the Force wills it.
He's crazy now.
And I think that Finn's belief within the Force, seeing what he has seen with Rey and being able to feel her feelings, he's not necessarily Force sensitive, but he's able to feel exactly what the Force is without being able to use it. Just like the Guardians of the Temple on Wills, the Guardian of Wills, Mm-hmm. So I think that was huge. Yeah, I think that was a really strong point of the movie. Is like Finn saying, "Oh, like I know something's wrong, or I'm able to feel Rey's spirit because it's a feeling." Yeah, just like how when you spend so much time with someone that you're able to feel like, man, like, I should really check in on this person, even though I haven't seen him in a while. Yeah. Like, I'm going to be like, hey, dude, like, are you okay? And then, like, oh, actually, dude, like, I'm glad you reached out because blah, blah, blah. Yeah, and you're like, whoa. So I think that was a really strong part of the movie, for sure. Yeah, I agree. Something that I thought was kind of funny, and that you can easily see how unorganized the creation of these movies, over the past 5 years have been, is how unutilized the Knights of Ren were at all. Oh yeah. And then how Captain Phasma, obviously this has been talked about, how Captain Phasma just like dies after she was heavily marketed. Oh my and god. All these characters. Fuck you, Rian Johnson, you piece of fucking shit. and that's something, bro, I will forever say, is that if J.J. Abrams had all three, this series would have been... It'd be pretty awesome. I think it would have been better than the prequel trilogy. It would have been better than I would agree. Well, no shit, yeah. Of course. But I mean, there's a lot of people that will die by the original. There's a lot of people that will, for some reason, I have no fucking clue, will die by 1, 2, and 3. Jake Phillips. Yes, but I think I will die by 3. 1 and 2 is good. I don't need. But I'm saying if it was worked out that J.J. Abrams would have done 7, 8, and 9, this story arc would have been something that... It could have been the best trilogy. It would have been, in my opinion. And I think everything that would have ended in 9 would have been something that everyone would have been satisfied with.
Yeah.
Because he wouldn't have to say, like, she's a Palpatine.
Yeah.
Fucking, like, her only parental figures were Leia and Luke, so now she's a Skywalker by heart. Like, all this kind of shit. Like, everything would have been set up.
You would have
to
found
be
out
perfect
she's a Palpatine
because
at the end of number 2.
Yeah, or
there would have been a logical
and
consistent.
like,
yeah,
and like how you were saying,
oh, man.
like it wouldn't have been as like 1,000 mile per hour in the first 30 minutes of the movie, where it's just like boom, boom, we're going here, we're going there, we're going there.
Well, because I mean, realistically, in a trilogy, in an average Star Wars trilogy of 9 hours, we wasted 3.5 hours of that 9 hours with Episode 8.
Yes.
So
to just get shut down on everything.
And when you're watching this movie, it feels like there are so many ideas that JJ had that he was like really trying to make things fit
and
this
connect
perfect way.
Yeah.
Which he did, but if he had that extra couple hours to kind of establish everything, or like the Knights of Ren, they're not really even in the movie. They just kind of appear a couple times, and then Kylo kills all of them. and then there's one time at like the beginning of the movie where I think it was Donald Gleason's character. I forget his name, but he's like, the Knights of Ren, and then they just walk by, and that's it.
Yeah.
And then he gets shot in the chest and dies.
Oh yeah.
We found the traitor.
No, the traitor.
Oh,
that was such a funny way for Hux to die. Admiral Huckster, looking like everyone was
random.
he's supposed to be the Grand Moff Tarkin of this trilogy. Yeah, okay, yeah, sure.
Wrong answer.
Get the fuck out of here.
He's not the.
I'm the
Grand
traitor.
Moff Tarkin.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
I know, yeah. Like, okay, well, you're the worst traitor of all time.
That was another moment that I couldn't stop laughing.
Dude.
Is when he just...
I did?
He was like... And then when he was like, I'm not doing this for you. I'm doing it so that Kylo loses.
Yeah, it's like, well, they're basically... I mean, we're against Kylo, so you kind of are doing it for us. That is funny. And also, going back to, like, J.J. Abrams and everything, I think because... If you just take out Rian Johnson and you get, like you said, give JJ the 2 movies, like, imagine if he would have just taken this arc from this 3rd movie and spanned it across these 2 movies. The amount of exposition and like just context of everything, like he would have been able to add so much detail, so much more.
I mean, realistic. I think my theory is that this movie
was supposed to be both.
Well, because he wrote touch-ups for episodes 8 and 9 when he wrote episode 7. And Rian Johnson, being the brilliant screenwriter that he is, decided, you know what? J.J. Abrams has been in the industry for like 25 years. He knows what he's doing. He made some Star Trek movies that were respected. He made a really good Star Wars movie.
And
he can go fuck himself. I'm going to do my own movie.
He made Firefly and Serenity.
Yes. I forgot about Firefly.
That's true. He did.
I'm wet.
I think that this movie is... I think he synthesized his episodes 8 and 9 ideas. That's exactly what this movie feels like. Is if this movie was 6 hours long, everything would have made sense.
Yeah, I agree.
Dude, honestly,
I'd sit through it.
I would watch 7 and just watch 9. I wouldn't even fuck with
8
because I feel like it would have made a lot more sense to just watch 7 and 9. You'd be like, whoa.
I agree.
Whoa.
I'm gonna have to do that. Maybe tomorrow before I go, because I'm gonna go see it again tomorrow night. I think I'm gonna watch 7 before I go.
Yeah, and just watch 9 and be like,
and
this
then just drink so much that I forget 8, and then I just go to 9.
Because I feel like it'd make a lot more sense to watch Abrams' idea in 7. And then watch what he wanted to finish it with in 9, and just be like, that makes a lot of sense.
And that's the thing is
I agree.
Marco, remember our conversation after episode 7 when you were you were pissed about it, and I kept saying what his plan is to make episode 7 like A New Hope, but a little bit of new things to make everyone comfortable.
And then episode 8 is where
he was
going to
be different. And then episode 9 is where it's all going to come together. It's going to be his own thing. Does it not feel that way?
It does feel that way.
Like that's what his intention was.
It does feel that way.
But because episode 8, like I almost kind of wanted it to be more familiar in episode 9 because episode 8 fucked it so hard.
I agree. I think this is all a lesson to anybody who has a creative side or has any interest in movies, that the second movie in a trilogy. The middle movie is the most pivotal movie in the whole trilogy. So going into that middle movie, if it's subpar, or in this case, god-awful, it makes it a lot harder for the whole trilogy to be successful. Cause
it's not god-awful. It's actually a really good movie, and you're a toxic fandom.
just fucking make sure that...
Fuck any critic who says that.
The same person writes every... Like, if they're going to direct the first movie and you have a trilogy going, make sure they direct the fucking rest of it, because that'll save you a lot of trouble.
Yeah. I agree.
Or have someone who's not a fucking sellout piece of shit like Kathleen Kennedy in charge of things.
Fuck
like the
bitch.
guy, is it Feige? The guy in charge of
Kevin Feige, yes.
He doesn't direct all the Marvel movies, but he has an iron fist over what happens in Marvel. That's one thing I respect about that. If Kathleen Kennedy had a modicum of respect for what George Lucas created, these movies would be okay without all the same directors.
And the thing about Kevin,
she is a sellout piece of shit.
Yeah, I agree.
She dies.
And I think,
hate her.
and I think,
I hate her.
And I
so
think
much.
the thing with Kevin Feige is that he tries his best to stay true to source material whenever he can.
He cares about it.
He does care.
She doesn't care. She has been a suck up to George Lucas since the days of like Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
The Christian Skull.
Yeah, she's been there. Like if you watch the documentaries of the making of that movie, she was there. She was there in the background the whole time,
just like waiting for her moment to fuck everything up.
Her moment to be in charge, to get her stupid ideology in charge of Star Wars.
Yeah.
She is I blame her. I don't really blame Rian Johnson as much as I blame her. Because at the end of the day, it was her decision to say, hey, here's a weird dweeb who's made like 2 movies. Let's give him an entire Star Wars movie. Let's give him probably the most important cinematic universe in movie history. Let's give it to just some dude.
And speaking of dweebs, it's funny also another character that was just like tossed to the side, Rose. She was just like totally just tossed to the side.
Dude, I was fucking pumped up about Finn's little like shoulder grab and just fucking walk away. Fuck that bitch.
I know.
Get the fuck out of here.
She's like in the she's there. She's there throughout the whole movie, just kind of hovering in the background.
Yeah, dude, she knows her place. Good.
Whoa. But it's funny because even like the characters, like whenever she says something, like the characters kind of look at her and just like.
Okay.
All right. Anyways, so we're gonna be going over to that one planet and doing like.
She's like, we should do this, and they're like, okay, like good idea, I guess.
We're gonna
dude, I just had an idea. We should go do this, and they're like, oh yeah, for sure. Like,
yeah, Poe, that's a great move, man.
Yeah, dude, I'm glad.
Yeah,
me too.
Who's your guys' favorite character of the movie?
I've always been a Poe Dameron fan. I like the character. I wish they would have done a little bit more by his character during the trilogy, but. Overall, I think he's been the most solid character.
I'm glad they're not gay. I'm going to be honest. That would have been super weird.
He was done more justice.
I'm not against that, but by any means, I'm not against that. But I just don't think... Because there was a lot of people out there on the Twitter sphere that were like, oh, like...
They're gay. Yeah.
Finn and Poe should have a thing. And it's like, not necessarily, because the entire, like, episode 7...
Yeah.
No hint to that at all. Episode 8, no hint to that at all.
Yeah, if they would have hinted... to it from the beginning, it would have made a lot more sense.
Sure, why not? But they did have the blonde lady and her fighter pilot girlfriend kiss at the end.
Yeah, I saw that.
I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
I was like, oh, that's so cute.
So, I have a question for you guys. To wrap this up.
Hold on.
No?
Gavin, who's your favorite character in the movie?
I've been thinking about this while you guys were bantering there for a second. I don't know. I don't know. I would say
Ray.
I would say
Ray. Ray.
It's probably Ray. It honestly
of just this last movie or the whole thing?
Oh, of the
I'm talking about just this last movie.
Just this last movie, it's
just
Ray.
This last movie.
Of the whole thing, it's Kylo.
Ray.
I have to admit I was surprised by that because I hated Ray for the first 2 movies as a character.
Daisy really plays a really good dead person. She looked dead as I've seen my fair share of dead people.
Yeah.
She looked super dead.
Yeah,
I was like, this is kind of like, this is giving me the chills.
Yeah.
This is really creepy.
But I
gross.
Going into this one, I thought that the Emperor would be my favorite character. But I don't know if you guys feel this way, but I feel like if it was Ian McDiarmid, it feels like he was kind of phoning it in a little bit.
Yeah.
Like they were like, hey man, you need to do us a solid. And then he came in and played the
And he's
Emperor.
like, fuck. Okay.
Because, I don't know, something about him just didn't feel right. It
Yeah.
didn't feel like he was like... Because he was like... In all the other movies, like in the prequel trilogy, he was like this conniving, sneaky dude. In the original trilogy, he was like, "Now, young Skywalker, you will die."
Yeah,
like he was like dramatic and kind of corny almost.
Yeah,
but in like a charming way. In this one, he was just like.
He had the same monologue that Snoke had, like, you will do this.
Yeah, exactly.
You will do this,
yeah.
and you will do this. And then it didn't work out for him, just like it didn't work out for Snoke. And I get that his embodiment was that of Snoke with the weird, like, cloning tanks and whatever, but it was still just like, I've seen this monologue before, and it didn't work out. So what do you think? It didn't work out for you the fucking first time, so why do you
with
think it's
Darth
gonna work
Vader,
out for you this time?
And his speech was almost verbatim what it was in Return of the Jedi. That's kind of what I don't like is the entire Palpatine sequence.
Dude, Palpatine since fucking episode 2.
Yeah, I agree.
Episode 2, episode 3, fucking 5 and 6, and now 9. It's like I sense hatred in you.
Yeah, but
it's
that's
like,
the thing is,
kill me, strike me down.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
he's legitimately been in all of Star Wars. Palpatine is by far and above my favorite character ever.
yes.
I just don't think he was done justice in this one as much as he could have been.
Yeah.
I think if Ian McDiarmid had been told like in episode 7 that he was going to be in episode 9, before Rian Johnson fucked it all, I think we probably could have gotten something good out of it.
Mm-hmm.
This just feels like he was like last minute thrown in.
I wish Mace Windu would have shown up, or Baby Yoda, or both.
Dude, my favorite character of this
He'd
movie,
be adolescent Yoda in this.
Little Babu.
Oh, little Bob.
Dude, fucking black market droid smith Babu. When they were like, oh yeah, like I know a black market droid smith, I'm like, this is gonna be a fucking badass dude. And then it's like a little dude,
and he's just
he
like,
started speaking English. Yeah, he started speaking English like droid ready now. I was like, this is funny as fuck.
Dude, and then he shows up at the end.
Yeah, dude.
And Babu.
And then that, like, the new droid, I thought he was gonna be a bigger part of it, but he wasn't as big as I thought he was gonna be. But he was so great when he's like, no, thank you.
I know, yeah.
And I was like, that's funny as fuck.
So my question for you guys to wrap this whole discussion up. Out of all of the last movies of each trilogy that has made up this saga, so episode 3, episode 6, and this episode 9, which one's your favorite out of the last movies? How would you rank? Still
3.
You'd rank 3 over, well, for nostalgic factor. I understand.
Out of the context of nostalgia and the full term of the saga, I would say 3 because it's probably one of the most pivotal points of the entire saga itself.
I agree.
And then 6, and then 9.
I agree.
This one is really hard for me, but I would say like if because last time we talked, I was talking about my rankings of the movies.
Yes.
6 is my top, so I'd have to say 6, and 3 is very close behind 6 in my ranking of all the Star Wars movies. So I have to agree. Well, swap your 6 and 3, but I'd say 6, 3, 9 for me.
Wow.
Just because the emotional parts of 6 to me are way like that climax with Luke, Palpatine, and Vader to me is just. I could rewatch that 100 times and it still affects me.
Yeah.
And Admiral Akbar.
It's a trap,
dude. Yeah. I honestly, my rankings would go.
It's tough.
Because honestly, out of all of the, honestly, I'm gonna do it 6, 9, 3. I think that for me, I think that's how it goes. But out of all Star Wars movies, this is probably like 5th on my list now. A solid 5.
I'd have to rework my listing.
I'm gonna have to sit down and.
So I've deduced that there is.
You said deuce.
The deuce.
I will later. So if it's a movie you really care about, you have to watch it 3 times. Whether it be in theaters or at home. The first time is for the experience.
Yeah.
Second time for analysis. Third time for leisure.
Yeah.
So you go in for Star Wars, you're like, oh, like I'm watching this on opening night, like this is fucking crazy.
Yeah.
And then you have time to sit on it, and you're like, huh. And then you go back and you watch it again, you're like, I'm just gonna like, I've been there for the experience, and I'm gonna just take in everything and be like, oh, like this is what's happening. I'm really gonna analyze this.
It took me it took me 2 showings of The Last Jedi to realize that I fucking hated that movie.
And then you're just like, oh, I'm just gonna relax and just watch it.
What, Gavin?
Can I push back with you a little bit there?
Of course.
Kind of because of The Last Jedi. So
fuck that movie.
Episode 7, I hear about it, and we'll say 2013 is when we get the first news that it's happening. 2014, we see that teaser trailer towards the end of the year.
Yeah.
And I cried when I saw the Millennium Falcon.
Me too.
I cried like a baby.
I did too.
And I rewatched it like 30 times. I take some girl from one of my art classes on opening night, and I see it. I was so excited. I was so happy about it. And then I theorized for like 2 years. I see Rogue One, and I loved it. I was like, oh my God, Disney's getting it right. And then I keep theorizing, and then I see the trailer with Snoke in it. I'm like, oh my God, Episode 8's going to be kick-ass. And then I take my girlfriend to see Episode 8. I get out of Episode 8, and I'm so mad that we sit in the car, and I'm just flipping out like a Vietnam veteran, telling some war story for like 2 hours about George Lucas in 1975 got together with some friends, and 1977 he released the movie, and I'm just going on a crazy rant. I've watched that movie 1.5 times.
Well, that's
I care about
like,
Star Wars a lot, but I've watched.
But that's the thing, like, so like, there's some movies like I've seen The Last Jedi more times than I feel like I wanted to see.
I literally text people and say, "What the fuck am I doing watching this piece of shit?" Every time
that I will watch multiple times for that reason. It's like I watched it the first time for entertainment, and I've realized like this is something that I'm gonna watch a couple more times, and I'm gonna watch when it comes out on DVD. You know?
Yeah, this movie for sure.
But there's definite, like, some, like, Infinity War, I think is better than Endgame.
For sure.
And that's one that I was like, I watched it when it came out, and I was like, fuck, like, that's crazy. And I watched it again, I forgot who, but I was just like, oh, like, wow. I had the time to, like, I processed everything the first time, so now I'm going to watch it again and just be like, whoa, like, this is kind of crazy. And then I watched it on DVD, or like when it came out on Netflix, and I was just like watching it just because I was like, oh, I'm gonna watch it again.
So is that if you have a positive reaction to the first viewing?
I think so.
Because this movie, I would say my reaction to it is like if you hand me a bowl of Honey Nut Cheerios. I'm not excited about it,
but it's good for your heart.
If I'm in the right mood, I'm like, ooh, that sounds kind of good. I'll eat some Honey Nut Cheerios. The Last Jedi was like you told me, hey Gavin, I have some Reese's Puffs for you, and then I show up to your house and then you hand me a bowl of Chex, and then you take a shit in my bowl of Chex, and then you say,
let me hold on. Do you like Reese's Puffs?
I love Reese's Puffs.
I do not. I thought like you were it was shitty to begin with.
No,
it just got worse.
No, I love Reese's Puffs. I
bro, why wouldn't you say Lucky Charms? Like
Lucky Charms?
Everybody has different tastes.
This is how I picture this. Like, hey,
Jesus,
I got Lucky Charms for you at my house, but bro, it's all marshmallows, and you're like, for sure. And then you get there and it's like, my bad. I ate all the marshmallows.
It's all the brown.
It's Raisin Bran without the raisins. It's just bran flakes. And you're like, fuck, like I'm gonna have to take a shit on this.
And I don't have milk. I have piss. I'm sorry.
Not even piss, bro. I have water. This is Friday. You're Ice Cube. Have some fucking water with your cereal, bro. And you're like, all right. And then you eat it, and you're like, man, my stomach feels weird. And you're like, oh yeah, I got that like last year. I just found the box. And you're like, fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah, that sounds like a shitty morning.
Well, no. Then your friend comes and says, "Hey, I subverted your expectations. It's 2-year-old cereal.
Wow.
And you were expecting me to be a good friend and give you real food, but I subverted what you thought, didn't I?"
Well,
I'd say my last thought on this is I really like, as much as the ending was weird, kind of with that random old lady being like, "Oh, who are you?" and she's like, "Rey Skywalker."
Oh,
I get that Luke and Leia were her main parental figures throughout this trilogy, And if I was her, I would not want to carry the name Palpatine with me, because
I'd say reclaim the name.
She could try to reclaim the name. She could try to make it better for herself, but a galaxy that's been ruled for 50 years probably of
bullshit
Sith and Palpatine, I would not want that name, so it kind of made sense. Like, I appreciated that. But also to end the saga where it started in 1977 on Tatooine, looking at those suns, was something that was crazy.
Yeah, it was cool.
Yeah, that part.
Especially watching the movies in the order that, like, the machete cut, or the machete version.
Oh, yeah, that you were talking about, yeah.
It's like, you watch episode 4 and 5, you watch 2, 3 as a flashback, 6, 7, 8, 9, then it really sums up, like, it starts with episode 4 and it ends with 9. Yeah. You don't start with episode 1 and end with 9, like...
Yeah. You don't even watch that.
Yeah, you don't even watch episode 1, like, you just see Anakin, like, as a... like, just a Jedi in training, you know? And,
oh, God.
And just to see that kind of come full
I
circle.
I hate sand.
And her and BB-8 just, like, looking at the two suns, like, that was kind of her closure. It's just how it was Luke's closure, and how it was Obi-Wan's closure, and Owen and Beru when they're holding baby Luke. I thought that was really neat. And the other portion I really enjoyed was all the systems being liberated from the Final Order and the First Order, just like the remastered version of Episode 6, where they show Coruscant and Naboo.
They
and
showed
all those
the moon of
being
Endor
free.
too.
Yeah, with the Ewoks.
That was
I
cool.
really liked how that ending came together.
I agree.
Despite all the weird kind of loose ends.
Yeah.
There's a sick part of me that wishes that Rey had, like, turned to the dark side and that the Emperor won. There's a part of me in the back of my head that's like, that would have been a kick-ass thing to watch, just to watch all those Star Destroyers, like, pose like flying. He's about to shoot a missile at that little, like, radar thing that they have to take off all the Star Destroyers.
Yeah.
And just as he is about to press the button, they all go into hyperspace. And then he just cuts to black. Just like ends right there.
Wow. That was crazy. How many ships they fucking had.
That was a lot of ships.
And how
I have to admit, those
how they
scenes,
came up out of the ice, that was sick.
Oh, dude, when the rebellion ships are, like, getting into the planet for the first time after coming out of hyperspace, and you see that like top down view of all the ships.
That was fucking crazy.
My God. You know, when I first saw that number of Star Destroyers in the trailer, I was worried. I was like, that is so corny. But they executed it well. You know, J.J. Abrams, you know.
I fucking love you, dog.
He
the homie.
I got to admit, he didn't.
The man.
I can't say that he completely saved the trilogy for me, but what I can say is he
salvaged what he could.
C's get degrees. That's all I got to say.
Well,
I'll give it a B.
I think at the end of the day, the moral of this podcast has been,
fuck Rian Johnson.
Fuck Rian Johnson again.
Facts.
And
fuck Rose.
Fuck Rose.
Your character's pointless. Go home.
Yes.
Should have died with your sister.
Yeah. If you have not seen Rise of Skywalker, I don't know why you listened to this whole thing. If you have, yeah.
Real
that's
quick.
Cool. Yeah.
Real quick.
Yes.
Who the fuck is the Codemaster or whatever the fuck with the red lapel?
What?
From The Last Jedi, bro. When he's at the casino and his girlfriend's like, oh, what was that? He's like, don't worry, I'm gambling.
Yeah, that
what
dude.
The fuck?
Yeah.
Bro, fuck you, Rian Johnson, for putting that pointless character in there.
And Benicio del Toro's character,
dude,
too.
You guys are
He even said Benicio del Toro will be in the 9th movie. Like that dude was supposed to play a part in this movie.
Wrong answer.
I'm glad he didn't. Fuck that.
Yeah, no,
that's all.
Benicio del Toro deserved better. He deserved better.
With
that
weird,
fucking stupid.
Like, tweak thing that he did.
Yeah,
and
like,
all that. Yeah.
Fucking Peter Pettigrew out here.
Aw. Damn. Yeah. Well. Yeah, fuck Rian Johnson. This has been another episode of Closing Out the Week with the Closers Podcast. Thank you all for joining us and listening to us ramble for a bit about one of our passions, which is Star Wars.
Fucking 3:20 in the fucking morning. You guys it'll be like noontime when you guys hear this.
Yes, you will hear this very soon.
That's how dedicated we are.
We are so dedicated. It's almost 4 a.m. and we're still
Disney,
here.
hire me.
I wish.
Creative director for Boba Fett series.
Yes.
What's up?
That'd be crazy.
I support.
All I want is 1% and my name on the credits.
We should do an adolescent Yoda movie.
So on Monday, I have a guest calling in. Hopefully, no technical issues this time. From all the way from across the country in New York, a band called The 12th Human will be on the podcast.
What happened to the 11th?
And we don't talk about the 11th Human. And they will be on to discuss their music and, you know, probably a lot of other things. Probably the differences between the coasts. I bet there's a lot of differences that I don't think a lot of people really think about.
They're on the Beast Coast.
They have better bagels over there. Definitive.
Thank you guys. You guys have a great night, day, whatever you're listening to this. Bye.